Will Leon Bailey reach his full potential in football? This is a talk up for discussion, and Premier 7 would like to have a say on this. So make we see what go on. Welcome to Premier 7. I am your host, Ryan Nelson. I hope you all are doing well, but I am not doing so well because there is something that is bothering me for a while and I need to speak about it. The thing that is on my mind is about the Aston Villa and the Reggae Boy player, Leon Bailey. However, the topic for the discussion will be, will Leon Bailey reach his full potential in football? Leon Bailey, I spoke about him on a previous video, which was all about his potential in becoming a future great for Aston Villa. That video can be watched at your convenient time. However, I want to do a follow up because I'm still seeing something about this potentially great player that is still yet to be executed. He is back because this show will be very much detailed. I'm going to speak about Leon Bailey by way of a general talk on his profile. The transfer market will show the details. I'm going to give you a scouting report, whereas I'm going to compare him with other players in the percentile range, and a few more things. The game that was played against the United States. This is a one off, whereas I'm going to speak about the Reggae Boys in a slight manner. But Leon Bailey represented them in the Gold Cup. That is up for analysis. And then I will conclude as to whether I believe, by way of my opinion, if he will reach his full potential. Leon Bailey, by now, is a player that is almost at the peak age. He's currently 25 and he have a up and down career. And I believe that if everything goes well, he can be well on his way in becoming a future great. But right now in this current time, there has been doubts about that. But let me just dive into the general talk by way of the player profile because statistics shows something convincing, but it doesn't shows everything. And I spoke about something similar as it relates to a video that I did on Sancho as it relates to becoming the number 7 for Manchester United. Leon Bailey is a player that has confidence issues based on my personal eyes, and there are other things that triggers his inconsistency. But guess what? Not to judge him too harsh, but judge him correctly because I want to see him become a top class player because the potential is there. So let's have a look on his statistics by way of the transfer market, by way of last season for Aston Villa. Leon Bailey, this guy is a potential great, and other persons could say otherwise, but for me, that is just my opinion. Last season in the Premier League, season 22-23, he made 33 appearances, scored 4 goals, 4 assists, and players do receive yellow cards. But it shows here below that for the starting 11, there is 68%. But for the minutes covered, 58%. Goal participation, 16%. Now that shows that Leon Bailey, he appears in more game for Aston Villa last season as to compared with his first season, whereas he was out for a while due to injury. But Last season, he appeared 33 times for the club under a new manager, Unai Emery, who had confidence and still have confidence in him as a player. It showed that Leon Bailey can score goals and he can make assists. He's a player with style, with skills, with little pace, you name it. But down here where it shows the starting 11, it showed to me that not all games he can cover. There has been a lot of games that players have to play. The recent World Cup, it changes things and it can affect players potential in even playing more games. Not all players are robust like a Cristiano Ronaldo or have longevity like those players. The minutes covered by Leon Bailey showed 58%. That shows that Leon Bailey is not a player who can play fully in all games. Some games you can make him play 90 minutes, while some game he has to play less. That comes down to proper player management. Goal participation, having played 33 games, that has to improve. But then again, is a few years away from his peak age. Peak age would be like a 28, 29. And you can correct me if I'm wrong. Leon Bailey, to me, can be better, as it shows here that his main position is the left wing or the right wing, but mainly as a left winger. However, his price tag is at 28 million euros. That was updated 5 days ago on June the 20th, 2023. That shows that Leon Bailey, highest market value, which was 45 million euros, has dipped by a few amount. So its performances is declining because looking at where it was at Leverkusen, it peaked right here, but it continues to fluctuate and it is going down. And his age is an age that needs development. For me, based on those details, it showed that Leon Bailey is inconsistent. And inconsistency is not always on the hands of the player. But guess what? When players are watching themselves on TV or on YouTube, whichever media they want to watch themselves on, he or she, because females do play football, or other sports will not be issuing the blame on coaches at all times. And sometimes that has to be the case because you never know what is happening behind the scenes, but you have to put your best foot forward out there, but by way of a balance. Leon Bailey is playing for a good coach, Unai Emery. We know that now. But the injuries could be a concern. And is it a case in which Leon Bailey was injured for a very long time when he was playing for Aston Villa? I don't think that's really the case last season. But Premier 7 always has something to show if that was the case. Leon Bailey, he was injured in 2021-22 season with a thigh problem. From December the 5th, 2021 to February the 10th, 2022, 67 days away, he missed 9 games. Now, what does that have to say to me now? It has to say a lot about the player. It has to say a lot about the player because he's missing games, and whereas he could develop, his body is not up to par to take on all of those games. You're seeing the information there. And even before that, he had some issues when he was at Bayer Leverkusen. But let's forget about way back then because Bayer Leverkusen was a time for which he was that player that many clubs were looking at. But since he came to the Premier League, his farm is like a sea. Or it's like when somebody is surfing on the sea waves, up and down, up and down. Something has to change about Leon Bailey. And I wanted to show you the concerns as if it was a case for injuries which was causing Leon Bailey to, I don't really want to say underperform, but kind of being inconsistent. Leon Bailey has a lot to prove because he is the talisman for the Reggae Boys. Yes, Demar Gray came in and made his debut with an assist. Antonio came there. He's playing more games than Demar Gray, Bobby Reed is playing good as well. And I have to speak about those few players because they're in the Premier League and Premier 7 speaks about the Premier League. I spoke about um, Bobby Reed before Fulham because Fulham was in the top 7 before on Premier 7 in the Premier League. And, you know, he was playing quite well. But every player is different. The focus is on Leon Bailey because he is the real gem of the Reggae Boys team. And Aston Villa is a team that loves Leon Bailey. The fans love the man from Jamaica. However, I want to dive into some more details as it relates to a scouting report by way of FB Ref, because this will show a comparison as to whether or not Leon Bailey is playing better than those players in Europe's major competition. But, stats and all of those things, as I've mentioned earlier on, it shows evidence of whether or not a player is doing the do, right? So you're seeing the information here on the screen. And I want to do a comparison with Leon Bailey with other players because guess what? He can play in numerous positions. Let's speak about the forward position first because in the game against the United States, which I'm going to touch on within a few minutes, it shows that Leon Bailey is better so far being up there. And his XG shows that he's in the 90 percentile. Compared with the forwards, he is in the 90 percentile. Very good as an attacking player, as a forward indeed. His progressive carrying of the ball, 98 percentile. And we see that numerous times that Leon Bailey loves to carry the ball. He loves to drop back. He loves to collect the ball from whichever person is in the midfield. Even sometimes he even reach at the defensive line collecting the ball and dribbling going forward. Successful take on 90 percentile again. Very good. So you can somewhat conclude so far that Leon Bailey can reach his full potential. His progressive passes, not bad either, 89. So very close to the 90 percentile. However, there are some small little errors. Well, let me not say error. That is not an error, but some red mark here. Like his non-penalty XG. He's not a penalty striker, So he misses penalties. And aerial duels one, leave that to the defenders. Right? But so far as a forward, he's playing very well based on the comparison here. Now, if Leon Bailey should play in a 4-4-2 formation, whereas he's not the striker, but playing in the midfield, versus attacking midfielders and wingers, based on the report, this is not very strong. Is pass completion not good? Is pass and attempt not good? Um, is XG average assist 50%? Progressive carrier still okay. So concluding based on his attacking progress as a forward, or the report based on him being a forward, um, or a midfielder, he's better as a forward. So far, Leon Bailey is better as a forward. So it is best to understand that do not play him nowhere in the midfield as an attacking player. So far, based on the conclusion, not to say that he cannot play there, but his best position is being the forward. Now, I want to touch on this by way of a small analysis versus the United States. The Aston Villa man, he has not been performing as though I am seeing him to perform. My eyes shows me more than what I am seeing him doing on the pitch. Then again, he is still not doing the basic based on my opinion. And again, it is my opinion. You can have your say. Always on Premier 7. I think Leon Bailey is doing too much as a player, and sometimes his confidence can really and truly mess him up. It happens to the best of us. And the game that he played against the United States, he missed a penalty. And not only that game showed that whenever he's not playing so well, it gets to his head, but he needs to calm down. Other players on the pitch has to be there for him to support him, but then again, you have to be your biggest supporter. So let's look on the game against the United States by way of a formation because I went ahead to do a formation for the Reggae Boys team. And Leon Bailey, he played as the forward alongside Antonio, who was doing a graveyard shift. It shows that Leon Bailey was right here. He's the focus in a 4-4-2 formation. Let me speak about the good things. Progressive care of the ball, he is that man. Sometimes Bailey is over here. I can remember the nutmeg that he did to the two American players. But he fell down or he dropped on the ground because he was tired. Then Bailey is a good care of the ball. Whether on the left wing, he can carry the ball. On the right wing, he can carry the ball. Even right here in the midfield, even though there's a bit of foul, he can carry the ball, he can progress with the ball. But the issue with Leon Bailey is that his head is always down on the pitch most times. Whenever you're playing football and you're carrying the ball, you have to hold up your head. The faster the game, you have to pass the ball. Because if you keep the ball at your feet, you're going to concede a foul. And you can become injured. His decision making is not bad, but it is poor at times. Because, for instance, Antonio, Demar Gray, Bailey have the ball here, getting the ball from a Lambert. Bailey gets the ball, but he loves to dribble. So whenever he should pass the ball to a Demar or an Antonio, he wants to shoot or wants to even reach there, and that is not good for a footballer. He loves to do this again on the wing, loves to take on player, but sometimes you have to take on the wing, and sometimes you should not take on the wing. Sometimes you have to pass the ball like a touch and go, like give the ball to Latibody here, let him dribble with the ball. You find yourself right here too, supply the ball to Antonio, and then Antonio can try to score a goal. So that's the case with Leon Bailey. So for me, Leon Bailey, he is a good carrier of the ball based on even the FB report that was being shown. But he still have those small things that he needs to fix up. And small things can become big issues. It reminds me of the fact that you see someone with potential, but if they're not doing what they have to do for themselves, then they will not do well. Before I go into will he reach his full potential, I want to dive into a few ratings about the team with the fingers pointing on Leon Bailey. One Football show some details here about the Reggae Boys team, and Leon Bailey is the man in focus. Reed played alright, Lambert played alright, Antonio played alright, I guess. Not necessarily because he was playing a graveyard shift. Damien Lowe and Andre Blake. Yeah, forget about those players. Leon Bailey is a focus. 6 out of 10. That is average. Dropped into midfield at times to link play, which was seen because I watched the game and I was furious, but failed to put his country 2-0 up from the penalty spot. Displayed terrific moments of skills throughout the game. 6 out of 10. That conclude to show that Leon Bailey was playing okay. And who wants to hear that you're playing okay on a pitch? Sometimes players complain to say, boy, I am injured, and I'm playing too much games. That leads to proper game management because the coach as well should have made a substitution. But am I the only person who is saying this? Other persons have something to say because I made a post on the game against the United States that was played the 25th of June 2023 against the United States. And somebody made a comment by way of what I said about Leon Bailey. I wasn't really speaking about Leon Bailey on a general basis, though, for clarity. I was speaking about the Reggae Boys team. I said the Reggae Boys really knows how to break the hearts of fans, but I blame the coaching staff for the results last night. A little like is necessary. This person, however, mentioned and said, coach has nothing to do with it. I assume that this person was watching the game as well. Bailey looks like he lacks confidence. You see, the first person is pointed out is Leon Bailey. Not sure why Bobby Reed, Gray, or Antonio didn't take the penalty. Then again, it should have been an easy win, but we got 2 games left against Trinidad and St. Kitts. We need a good central midfielder or midfielders so we can transition the ball from defense to forward instead of long balls. We just need to take our chances even when it seems impossible. Very great point. Now, the point shared showed that maybe that is the reason why Leon Bailey was dropping into the midfield and collecting the ball because he knows that he's a progressive carrier of the ball. And sometimes he overcomplicates things, but he wants his team to win. However, the guy mentioned that his confidence is low. So not only me saw that Leon Bailey had such a low confidence. When I was watching the game, my family member was saying that he looks very lack of confidence, and he did miss the penalty because Turner, who was recently at Arsenal, it was his birthday, and he believed that the United States could beat the Reggae Boys. The stat shows that. But then again, it boils down to Leon Bailey to score the penalty, and he missed it. The goal looked very small when I was watching the game. But guess what? Players have to step up and do what they have to do. So the thing is, will he, that is Leon Bailey, reach his full potential? Leon Bailey is still 25. He's playing more games now, less injured. So he has to hit his peak now and get some goals rolling in, making some assists. Let the stats convince some persons because not all persons have time to watch the games. The report shows that Leon Bailey is somebody that is better as a forward. So I guess that was the reason why he played as a forward yesterday against the United States. Very good. And also for the analysis that was done against the United States game, Leon Bailey looked a bit off the shelf. I am yet to see him scored for the Reggae Boys. Aston Villa, when he plays for the Aston Villa team, he looks way better. I think it's all about chemistry. I don't think Leon Bailey is all about the money. That would be a false judgment. And I hope persons are hearing this. It would be a false judgment to say that he's all about the money. Hell no. He's a passionate player. But not all the time passion is good to even utilize in your mind that I'm passionate, because when you say you're passionate, you may stress yourself. Yeah. So he needs to find himself. The coach can give you all of the instruction, but then again, you're the person in that position. When you have the ball at your feet, pass the ball. That is my problem with him. He doesn't pass the ball, and he has his head down too often. Hold up your head, look for quick passes, touch and go. The touch and go thing, it can be very hard to do because I realize it on the scrimmage pitch when I'm playing football, sometimes within the week and on the weekends. Touch and go is all about getting proper training as well, and you have to be fit because if that's what your coach wants you to do and you're not a fast player like a Harry Maguire, no shade thrown, you will not be able to touch and go and move forward with the ball like a Demar Gray who is flary. But Leon Bailey have the potential to do so. Before I go, I just want to say something very quick. Leon Bailey, by way of the transfer market statistical evidence, showed that Leon Bailey is not a player who can play all games. He is not a 90% player in terms of minutes. You can start him in more than 50% of the games, but in terms of minutes, he's not that player who should play all minutes. But he's not a super sub to me, he's a starter. But you have to manage him from a management perspective better. Because in the game against the United States, you can see that he was lethargic when it reached on to even the 70th minute. My family member who I was watching the game with was saying, take off Leon Bailey whenever it touched the 70th minute. And that was the case. He was doing way too much. But for him on a personal point, he has to step up personally in doing the basics correct. Well, I spoke about him in a previous video that he have the potential to become a future Aston Villa great. So it is up for him to decide what he wants for himself. Keep the game a bit more simple. Restrict yourself from over dribbling and keeping the ball too long, because the faster the game is, the quicker you will receive an injury and the quicker you will do garbage. So for me, Leon Bailey, he has the potential still. I think he can reach his full potential, but for now, he's in the balance. What do you have to say, fans? Do you think he will reach his full potential, or do you think he's an average player and he will just flop away like Eden Hazard in his final days at Real Madrid? It's all for you to say as well. You can always have your say. So it's my time to go now, but before I do so, I just want to remind you that the topic today was, will Leon Bailey reach his full potential in football? And the discussion was made. So you do have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you so much for supporting Premier 7. And I'll be back with some more news and updates about the top 7 teams in the Premier League. For now, it's a transfer window, so I can speak about all teams because the league hasn't started as yet. But it is my time to go, but I had to speak about Leon Bailey because he is a potential great. So take care and goodbye for now, and I will speak to you within a few more days.